Hey, what's up everybody? It's the People's Crypto. I'm back again with another video. We have some interesting new developments in the cryptocurrency space, but before we begin, please keep in mind that this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research and please seek out a financial advisor with a background in cryptocurrencies or digital assets. Alright, so the first story is Grayscale Investments scooped up over 17,000 Bitcoin in the last 7 days. They have around 450,000 Bitcoin, and that's worth roughly $4.7 billion. That will obviously fluctuate because the price of Bitcoin moves up and down. So that's an estimate of what it's worth today, but that may change going in the future, given that Bitcoin's price will probably go a lot higher or it might go lower depending on what the price is. But this is actually really incredible because it just shows that they are not stopping in terms of buying Bitcoin, and I can only imagine that they're going to continue to keep buying Bitcoin. Please keep in mind that we have the Winklevoss twins that own, I believe, 1% of all of the Bitcoin because they were buying Bitcoin when it was at, I believe, $7. You also have Sir Richard Branson, who has been buying Bitcoin since 2013. And you also have Chimaf, Pai Patel. I think I'm saying his name wrong. Please forgive me. But he has a ton of Bitcoin, and you have so many other investors that have a large bag of Bitcoin. Also, remember, Fidelity has their Bitcoin fund that they're working on. They've been mining Bitcoin as well. And you have countries that's mining Bitcoin now. So we really don't know what the real supply of Bitcoin is remaining. There may not be that much left, considering that this company and many other companies are now starting to purchase more and more Bitcoin as time passes. This can be seen just the other day. The software firm MicroStrategy makes a massive bet on Bitcoin with a $250 million purchase. Now, they are not the only company that has been purchasing Bitcoin. There's also a company in Canada that have been moving their reserves to Bitcoin as well. So it's starting to steamroll ahead. More companies are taking their reserve cash and they are purchasing Bitcoin to protect themselves from, the depreciation of the fiat currencies and inflation and hyperinflation whenever these things may occur in the future. So they are paying attention. They are protecting their assets. And when the price goes up in value, whenever that may be, these companies will be worth so much more than what they're worth now. Also, you have to keep in mind that there's so many other investors like Sir Richard Branson. You have, who else? Chimaf Palpatia. He has a ton of Bitcoin as well. The exchanges have a ton of Bitcoin. You have the Winklevoss twins that have 1% all of the Bitcoin. So there's not that much Bitcoin left, and there's still tons of Bitcoin that still needs to be mined. We don't know for sure when all the Bitcoin available now will be bought up, but eventually over time the price will increase and it will be more difficult for you to obtain at least one Bitcoin. This is why you will hear me say, and probably so many others, dollar cost average, maybe focus on this coin and maybe not so much the other ones. You could purchase altcoins. And I changed my mind. You can definitely purchase altcoins. Before I would say, focus solely on Bitcoin. However, if you don't have 0.28 or a significant amount of Bitcoin, then I would just say maybe you probably, not investment advice, of course, probably it makes more sense to focus on at least getting one to protect yourself. Then you can make your speculative picks with other altcoins. But don't get me wrong, there's definitely some good altcoins. It's just finding them is really the difficult part because we have over 7,000 different cryptocurrencies. So you just have to be extremely careful when you're making your picks. So do your research. If you're not sure what you're getting into, seek out a financial advisor with a background in cryptocurrencies. Now, that's going to be pretty difficult to do because most traditional financial advisors are not in the cryptocurrency space. So you're going to have to do a lot of searching, but I'm pretty sure you can find some online. You just have to really do your research and be very careful whoever you pick to help guide you on your journey. There's definitely a ton of crypto influencers, of course, but oftentimes they will recommend a ton of coins. Some are good, some are bad, and that's where your research comes in. But yeah, they're buying Bitcoin. Adoption is definitely going to happen. You just have to be extremely careful what coins you get into once you've secured the bag and obtained at least 0.28 or 1 Bitcoin. But yeah, this is going to keep happening. Grayscale is not slowing down with their Bitcoin purchases, and it's only a matter of time before the prices go parabolic. And we'll get a correction, which will probably be like 80%. So depending on how high we go, you still may actually be able to get one after this next run up, but it depends on how high the price is. So we just have to wait and see. So let's take a look at the next story. It says DeFi token exposed as pump and dump scheme in leaked Telegram chat. And this is why I have said so many times to be extremely careful when getting into DeFi. There's been a bunch of scandals already. Don't get me wrong. There is definitely a place in the future for DeFi tokens. But for now, it is extremely risky because people are, unfortunately, they're going to take advantage of people now getting into the space. And this is where, doing your research and thoroughly checking these projects to make sure that they're legitimate and not taking anyone's word for it. If they're saying that, hey, this particular project is good, definitely read these white papers, see who's a part of these projects, look at LinkedIn profiles. Just make sure you're dotting your I's and crossing your T's. And please do not listen to anyone recommending any coins on YouTube, LBRY, or any other platform you may be watching or listening. I would just say that if we're bringing up these coins, they're just a point of reference for you to maybe do your own research, and it should be the starting point of you looking into the project. So whatever we say, myself included, it's important you do your due diligence and you make sure that you're not getting scammed. Some of these projects and some of these coins, unfortunately, will go to zero. If you go back and watch plenty of influencers' videos, sometimes they hit it right on the nail and they may recommend a really, really strong project or coin. Other times, they may have recommended something in the past and it went complete to zero and it's never heard of or spoken about ever again. And no one's going to hold us, unfortunately, accountable for these SHIT coins. So just be aware of that. But this goes on to say a leaked Telegram discussion by 50 so-called crypto influencers has exposed the extraordinary steps they take in order to profit on the back of unsuspecting DeFi investors. According to a leaked screenshot of the chat, an elaborate plan to defraud DeFi investors using the worthless $few tokens had been hatched. $few tokens would be airdropped to some of the influencers who in turn promoted these to unsuspecting followers on Twitter. So I'm not really familiar with this particular project. I'm not aware of it because I'm not really in DeFi. I traditionally try to stay within the top 10. And in some cases, I may even look at the top 50 or even the top 100 coins, but I do extensive research. And as you probably noticed from my videos, I rarely recommend any cryptocurrency that's not in the top 10. But then again, you should still do your own research. If you hear me talk about a obscure coin that probably other influencers may talk about or other people on these platforms may talk about, but you'll rarely hear me recommend anything. That's why I usually stick to just Bitcoin. But don't get me wrong, there are some great projects out there. Cardano being one, Theta being another one, and hell, even Zilliqa. Some people will say that they're SHIT coins. That's completely fine. It depends on, what your research is and how much research you're doing. So that's perfectly fine, but do your research. So be very careful if anyone's recommending any weird coins. So there's that. And then we have Congress weighs crypto payments and fintech lending in hearing today. Well, actually, this was a little earlier today, depending on what time you're watching this video. It could be yesterday. So they're taking their sweet time trying to figure out the space. I'll leave a description for this particular article, but this just goes to show you that adoption is happening. And also, please keep in mind that they are working on a digital dollar. China already has a version of their digital currency in the works. I think it should be getting released relatively soon. If not, I think it's already being released. We'll get more information on that soon, but everything is going digital. If you're in the cryptocurrency space, we're at least 10 years. Because of Bitcoin, we're 10 to 11 years ahead of the governments. So we have first mover advantage with Bitcoin. These other government-backed digital currencies, chances are they're probably going to fail. And the reason why they're going to fail is because they're not hard capped like Bitcoin, where we just have 21 million Bitcoin. These government-backed digital currencies will be still fiat, but in digital form. They can print out or go into a computer and type in an obscure amount of money into the system, pumping it, and essentially leading to inflation and hyperinflation. So these government-backed digital currencies are going to be garbage. So this is why you have a pretty great opportunity to build a crazy amount of wealth in the cryptocurrency space. Granted, you pick the right ones, because if you pick some SHIT coins, unfortunately, you're not going to be any better off. And that's something a lot of people will not tell you. But this is why you will hear me and my peers usually use Bitcoin as a point of reference. And then after that, you may hear us talk about altcoins or other coins that may have relatively good use case, as long as, another coin doesn't come out that challenges that coin that may be a little bit better or is executed more efficiently. So just keep that in mind. And then this story is the US dollar will crash faster and harder, says pro-Bitcoin economist. And so many people have been talking about this. Stephen Roach, former chairman of Morgan Stanley Asia, he's a pro-Bitcoin economist, and he wrote in his op-ed that basically the dollar could fall as much as 35%. And he projects by the end of 2021. I will leave the complete story in the descriptions below, but this is not good because he is not the only one saying this. A lot of people have come to the realization, especially those other big corporations. This is why they're buying up Bitcoin and they're moving their money out of the banks and into Bitcoin to protect themselves from this crazy economic crisis that we may be facing in the near to distant future. Don't get me wrong, we already have a crazy economic crisis, but we may be witnessing something like a collapse. So please pay attention to what's going on in the economy, and try to protect yourself as much as possible. This is why I always say, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, look into Bitcoin, maybe dollar cost average, try to potentially get one. Obviously, this is not investment advice. This is what I've been doing and many other people in the cryptocurrency space have been doing. So just be mindful of that. Like I said, there's other cryptocurrencies with great use cases. They're solving world problems. Look into those other coins. I'll do a video on that, but I'm not necessarily going to promote those coins as if they're the next best thing, even though they may be, in my opinion, but I don't want to get into one of those people that are pumping coins. I think it's really not right, but there's definitely opportunities to make money in this space. Unfortunately, the higher the risk, the higher the reward. I just don't want to see anyone crash and burn. I don't want to take credit for anyone's success or failure. So there's that. Let's take a look at the current cryptocurrency prices. Right now, Bitcoin is still number one. It's going to be like that for quite some time. Bitcoin is $10,765.58. Ethereum is $356.19. Tether is $1 as always. XRP is 24 cents. Bitcoin Cash is $228.62. Binance Coin is $28.48. Polkadot is $4.41. Chainlink is $9.92 now. Bitcoin SV is $172.04, and Cardano is 9 cents. All right, so that's actually going to wrap it up for the top 10. You can take a look at the other cryptocurrencies on your own free time, of course. You can follow me on Twitter. If you're listening on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, also hit that notification bell, because sometimes you could subscribe to a channel and never get any notifications that a new video is uploaded. If you're listening to the video on LBRY, you can repost it or leave me a LBC tip if you want. If you're listening on the ODYSSEY platform, you can hit the red fire button. I think that's liking it on that platform. Or you can hit the splat button. Whatever is perfectly fine. That is going to do it for this video. Thank you for listening and watching, and I will see you later.